everyone, and welcome back to the Special Team Podcast, Episode 2. Joining me this evening is our good man, Wobbie Weaver. Wobbie, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Brad. Lovely to be here. First time in the booth. Hopefully the first of many, maybe.
Yeah, well, who knows? If you do well in this episode, we'll invite you back. If not, there are 10 other people waiting to take your chance.
No, you won't have Dave. He won't turn up like that.
He won't turn up.
No.
We'll see. I reckon he's pulled a swift move and arrived out of the blue before, but it may be past him, but we'll see. Come on, Dave.
Cool.
Come on, Dave.
Good to see
So
you.
welcome. Welcome to everyone watching. Due to great feedback from the first episode, mainly from me, I thought we'd roll it back and do a bit of a recap of the first 2 weeks of the fantasy season so far, of special teams and the NFL in general. And I suppose we should start with week 1. What was the headline that took your fancy, Rob?
Well, I think I'd like to just point out that today's broadcast is being sponsored by the Collingwood football team. So hence
Not my choice.
I brought this beautiful little scarf to bring. Collingwood are playing Friday night, so I'm sure Christina will be very excited to see when we get through to the granny, and we'll be able to talk about that maybe at the weekend. So apart from that, where are we going? Back to week 1?
Back to week 1.
Back to week 1.
The story would be we watched with bated breath all off season. We watched Hard Knocks out of East Rutherford, New Jersey.
I was excited about Hard Knocks.
Aaron Rodgers. Like everything we saw, the dude was going to take them to the promised land. And that lasted for approximately four snaps.
Four snaps. I think, what were they saying? That the opposition quarterback had hit more receivers than he hit Green Bay.
More turnovers, more opposition receivers than Aaron Rodgers had snaps.
And he's gone.
Yeah.
His Achilles is gone. So will see.
You don't think he'll come back?
I hope. Yes, he will. I know that certain people in special teams are trying to suggest that he's not going to be able to come back because they've had the same injury. I won't say who. And
Trusted sources.
Comparing their injuries to Victorian subbies basketball versus the NFL and millions of dollars of therapy. I think he'll come back. I hope he does. I think that would be a crying shame if that's his last act on a football pitch is to hobble off like that. So I think he'll be back. But who knows is the honest answer. Couple
of courses of ayahuasca and a darkness retreat in South America, and it could be back before the bye. Who knows? That was I saw that there were some betting agencies that had like boosters where you could add to your multi or whatever it was that add like $1.50 more that Aaron Rodgers to get over 0.5 passes.
I don't even know what that means. So what? So
it means if he threw one pass, they would have doubled their multi. And hundreds of thousands of people took that free promotion from Sportsbet or whoever it was and lost all their bets. So my heart bleeds.
Gambling. Don't do it.
Yeah, do it responsibly.
Yes.
Which is probably not doing it
Gambling.
At all.
You're about to lose, as we're constantly told, thanks to the ESPN fucking... am I allowed to swear on this thing?
Go for it. I'm surprised it took you this long, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, true. Gambling seems to be on every advert on the KO site. Anyway, nightmare.
Yeah. Other notes of round 1?
Personally, my team shat itself, so I was not really concentrating that much week 1, but my team shat itself, so I was a bit disappointed. Dak Prescott just pretended to be an NFL quarterback, scored about 3 points. I was like, that's useless. Pittsburgh Steelers were awful. They got shut out by the Niners, so there was a silver lining to that one. So personally, I was a little bit disappointed, but there was a couple of other interesting scores out there that could have gone either way.
Yeah, from my point of view, I got the highest score of the week, in week 1, and I don't know how because going back over my drafts since draft day, I hated every player that I picked and have not found one that I like, but somehow they did the job, and spoiler alert, did the job this week as well. Looking at you, Dave.
Not as well as me, though.
Not as well as Wobbie, I must admit. So before we get into the current week, let's throw to a special guest with our man Synth as our West Coast waiver commissioner. Throw it away, Synth.
West Side.
Nick Chubb and Cooper Cup. My fantasy team is fucked now. Yeah. Oh. Thanks, Brad. Welcome. I'm Sid Cynthia, your West Coast Waivers correspondent, way over here in Western Australia, where we're 2 hours and 20 years behind. But I'm catching up. We're talking about week 2 waiver wires, and what a week it was. If you can tell me you can smell something in the air, well, it's fish. There is a smell in this league that will outlast religion. It is insane. Over $150 spent on waivers last week alone. And we're going to break it down today. Let's start with the highest waiver wire bid. $71 on Nuka Panuka. Luka Fanuka. Or was that Naked DeLuca? Hang on, that was Vegas last weekend. But you know who I'm talking about. The rookie from the Rams, the good-looking chap. Depending on what you're into. $71 on a rookie? There's a missing clause in this team's sanity, if you ask me. Let's move on to fourth and irresponsibly long. $16 on Kyron Williams. The number 2 backs on the Rams? Come now. I think this team's been smelling some or sniffing some of that Bitcoin hash. And there ain't no justice. Sing it. No justice on spending $28 on Justice Hill and Kendrick Bourne. And you got to have some brass cojones if you're spending a combined $20 on Sam Laporta and Zay Jones. Now, come on. And Allen Robinson for $10? That baby Brad Phillips, I'm telling you, something fishy's happening in this league. And the commissioner. Where's the commissioner in all of this? Silent. Apparently, in Vanuatu, with his current squeeze. How did he get the money for that? I'll get to the bottom of this, don't you worry. This is your West Coast Waivers, Cincinnati, signing off.
All right, thanks, Synth, for that, mate. We appreciate your efforts, and we'll check in with you every couple of weeks. Robbie, did you have anything further to add from Synth's waiver notes?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about trade rape Rich. So I think the main thing, you had to explain what actually happened because I was not sure what was going on. And to be honest, I don't think Rich entirely knows what's going on, to be honest. So he dropped some fella, can't remember who it was, from the Rams.
Nakua, yeah.
From the wide receiver. Dropped him 2 days ago. Then decided that he kind of liked him. So he brought him back and he spent $71 from his budget on getting him back on the team. So everyone's happy. And then he benched him. And this guy he got 15 points in week 1, and then he's played against the Niners and got 22 points this week. So
yeah, most receptions ever for the first 2 games of a rookie campaign.
So what is Rich doing? I think
it's the right call to spend the money that he did. That was the kind of value on the waiver wire and other leagues and across ESPN. But the fiscally responsible solution is to not drop him at all.
Yeah. It's the gutsiest move I ever saw, man. I don't know if we'll have to see if he plays out for him. But
yeah.
Don't think it was going to work.
Let's see how it goes. Other than that, any other thoughts on waivers?
I haven't been able to watch any of it, so I've missed the waivers for the last couple of weeks. So it was only this debacle of seeing whatever Rich was screwing about with that made me laugh. But well done, Rich. Good work. So
we love you, Rich. We love you.
We do.
But, I mean, waivers is coming up after this week, and it's kind of a lot of injuries. The reason I was repping my man Saquon Barkley, because I thought that's one of the biggest injuries to come out of this week, puts up 26 or so points, goes down
I thought
with
he
an
was
ankle or a
fine.
knee. I thought he was fine. Now it's going to be a few weeks.
You're telling me that I thought he was fine. He got 26 points, 26 on his shirt. I thought he was fine. It popped up saying his ankle was a bit dodgy. He was going to be week to week. You're telling me he's out, maybe on IR. So, yeah, maybe I'm going to have to be looking on the waivers for a running back because I don't think I'm going to be the only one.
Yeah, you will know a lot more. So the way I was leading to that is I was wearing this in honor of Saquon, the fallen soldier. Wish I had a Nick Chubb jersey. That is, as we can see, this is... Yeah, so I'll throw to a replay now. Avert your eyes. And I know the ESPN or the YouTube cameras didn't show it in the live broadcast, but here's a little something we prepared. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you hate to see that. That's not something I ever want to see again. But while you compose yourself there, Rob, let's go through some of the games of the round in week 2 for the special teams.
Please do. Start with Dave, maybe.
Not saying a word. There's still some points changes that could occur. I've been done twice by stat corrections in this league, so I'm not counting my chickens just yet. But hopefully I'll have squeaked it out with the very smallest of margins.
I'm so sorry to see this happen to Dave. It couldn't happen to a nicer guy. So, yeah, let's see what tomorrow brings. But
yeah, send all your hate mail to robweaver@gmail.com.
Rob Weaver 1.
Rob Weaver 1, yeah. The first Rob Weaver was taken by someone. So, yeah,
True.
I was thankfully enough to start 2-0 and win by 0.3 at this stage, touch wood. On the back of a pretty solid performance from my guys. Dave had a few big, he was chasing down 23, 24 points with, one game to go. And
Probably feeling quite comfortable, I would imagine.
yeah, I'd resigned myself to the loss, and it took a horrifying knee injury and also just a step out of bounds from Alave. There could have been a touchdown that would have sealed the game, but not to be. Rules are rules. There's lines, and you've got to stay in them.
Hey, you've got to play by the game.
Your matchup just absolutely blew the league away with 162 odd points.
Yeah, well, like I said, last week was a disaster. So this week, actually, it was nice to see my team came back and showed that I hadn't drafted an absolute group of muppets. So I'm not out of the league already, which is a good sign. And still a few tweaks and injuries coming up already, but yeah, quite happy. And was coming up against Braden, who
knocking down a past champ with a good squad.
Yeah, I was expecting to come up. Well, I was going to be 0-2 coming into this one, but yeah, quite happy to knock off. Happy to knock off Braden.
It's always a cause for celebration, and Braden, we love you too.
No one to knock off anyone.
Yeah. Unfortunately for him, it was a case of CD Lamb and no one else. No one else showed up on his star-studded roster. But hey, look, we all have those weeks.
True.
It's important you
swings and roundabouts.
Bounce back to training this week. Hit the waivers hard.
Yeah.
And
go after some running backs.
Rebound. Yeah. Benny and Rich was the third matchup of this week, with Benny eking over the line 133 to 116.
Okay.
So Benny 2-0, Rich
as usual.
0-2.
Yep.
Early in the season.
Well, as people frequently remind me, Ben has come back from 0-6 to win the league. I don't know if Rich is going to do that though.
We'll see. It's a long season. Hey, look, if Carlton can make the finals after being 15th in round 14 or whatever it is,
it's a weird year.
Who knows what? But yeah, Benny's combo of Danny Dimes and CMC, the glory stack that everyone was talking about pre-season.
There we go.
Just gets it done.
Yeah, love it.
Next up was the Dougals versus KG.
The bottom dwellers of the league, it seems, this year, or at least Dougals was he won it last year, but KG seems to. I don't know what's going on with. She always doesn't seem to quite get going. So maybe this holiday, yeah.
It's the time zones. It's the 3 a.m. starts. Once it changes to 5,
she'll come.
it's KG's time to shine.
She'll come good.
But yeah, Dougal's putting the absolute smack down, 156 to 92.
Yep.
With Bijan Robinson proving that number 3 pick in the draft.
Was that right?
Yeah, 30 plus points, and took over from Tyler Algiers, who had the carry count last week. And it seemed to have reverted to form, and it's his season now, his team.
Good. Yeah, I thought that was going to be a risky pick because I've been burned with early rookie running backs. So hopefully he comes good.
If there's one squad for a rookie running back to be on, it's the Dougal. So I think they'll be fine for that season. It's points on the scoreboard. Next one up was Jeff versus Tommy. Now this could have gone a whole lot of different ways. This matchup.
You showed me this. Yeah, I mean.
So Jeff got over the line 128 to 116. But Tommy had 4 DNPs in his roster. So 4 people that were injured.
I want to start a conspiracy theory. Jeff is paying off people.
Yeah. Conspiracy theory, well-known facts. Your words or mine?
I don't know. If Tommy plays any one of the people who doesn't play, Jeff loses. I don't know if that's technically true, but either way, we'll go with it.
We'll alter the scores.
Yeah, so, I mean, is it commish abuse of power? I mean, who knows? But Tommy needs to up his game, get back into the picking the players who are starting.
Exactly. Check your rosters, Tommy. And let's hope whoever plays Jeff next week, and I'm not sure who that is.
Hopefully me.
Well, yeah, hopefully you, and you can knock him off, or he can take
I'm
you
not
down
knocking
to
off
Jeff.
Jeff. I'm not knocking off anyone else.
Been there, done that. Yeah. And the final game of the round was Synth versus Mike. Synth got over the line by 12 points, 144 to 132.
I got nothing to add here. I mean, Mike just can't get a win in this league.
Yeah.
I don't know. He can't buy a win. So maybe he needs to speak to Jeff.
There were definite points left on the bench for both sides. So good wavering, but maybe pop them in your roster and your starting lineup, and points only count if they're on your starters. From there, speaking of Jeff, how we just gave him a fair few clips driving by. We're going to throw back to one of our favourite segments from last week, which is Commissioner's Corner. And Jeff had this to say.
Hello, League.
Hello, League. Special teams.
Mr. and Mrs. Commish here. I have to say that my team probably didn't show up this week because they knew I was sipping cocktails here in Vanuatu.
And luckily, my team scraped through with one of the lowest point totals for the week, but I still got the win. Anyways, love you guys. We'll see you in a few days, but for now, we're enjoying sunset drinks in Vanuatu.
Cheers!
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. Wishing you a safe and pleasant return back, and bring some of that lovely beach weather back with us to Melbourne. Robbie, let's talk over the ladder at the end of round 2 going into round 3. Who have we got where?
Well, I think there's, week 3, you really don't want to be having no wins. You've got to get some runs on the board. So it's very hard to come back from 0-3, 0-2. At the bottom, we've got Mike, KG. Who else have we got down there?
Rich and Dave.
Rich and Dave. Like Dave has, he looks like he's having that year where he's lost 2 weeks with
2 weeks by the smallest margin each week, and
it's
heartbreaking.
It's the rub of the green. So yeah, we've
both been there.
Absolutely,
you just got to fight through it.
Absolutely. The middle of the pack, I'm happy to say I'm at 1-1, and there's a few of us in there. So who we've got? Tommy at 1-1, myself,
Braden, and the Dougals.
Yep. So that's a pretty tight
solid
pack to
tier.
bacon.
Everyone's putting up decent points. Like you're only just a poor result or an unlucky in-game injury away from being 2-0.
Yep.
And then the top 4 that are 2-0.
Top 4 are 2-0, and three standard ones up there, and yourself.
And myself, yeah. Stat correction pending at time of filming. Yeah, it's after starting last year. I started like 0-10 in one league and 0-7 in the other. Like, it's handy to have
get
some wins on the board.
A winning record always feels nice for
always
a while.
have people underneath you is always a good thing. So we'll leave it at that. But yeah, coming up, you don't want to be 0-3. You want to try and get a win on the board coming into next round. So hit waivers hard and do the right thing. We've got one final segment, and I'll let Wobby introduce it. I'll introduce it. He can talk about it. It's the special teams member of the week.
So obviously I spend a fair amount of time on the internet for my job, but I also saw this thing coming up, and I was like, what is going on here?
And we'll put the photo up on the screen for you as well.
Yeah, we will. I'm just trying to show it because I can do this. I think one of us is going for a job as some sort of Instagram influencer, maybe. I want to know what is going on with that. So Dave seems to be sending topless selfies of himself to Instagram. And so really want to know what is going on there,
Doing
Dave.
his best Aaron Rodgers recovery. Cold plunge, good life.
Yeah, cold plunge, sure. Get back to making us some yummy donuts and send them to Melbourne, please, Dave.
Please. We want this podcast to be sponsored by Brownsboro for the donuts. And the only way that happens is if we get some product that we can show to the internet.
Correct.
And I think the audience of this podcast is astronomical.
All
Infinite.
11 of them.
Yeah, all 11 of them.
Yeah.
The 10 of you watching at home, and I'll probably watch it a few times as well. But
Yep.
yeah, Dave, donate us. We love it. Thank you very much for joining me in this episode of
Pleasure
Special
to be
Teams
here.
Podcast, Rob.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming. You've added a lot. There'll be we'll get our lawyers on board just in case anything that you've said or done causes a bit of reaction in the wider community. But yeah, thanks for joining, and stay tuned for next week's episode where I'm sure we'll have another great co-host. Thank you very much.
Go the Pies.
Peace out.